Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Florida.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Philadelphia's second game of a four-game set between the Marlins and the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, a rough one last night for the Marlins, but back at it, hoping to forget about last night rather quick. Much to everyone's delight, it's time for me to talk about the weather again. Raining today, no batting practice, but luckily some sunshine as the pregame ceremonies commenced, honoring Shane Victorino, who was part of the 2008 World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies. With that, we say hi again, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, again, the story around the Marlins the last 24 hours has been so close to a win, instead a walk-off loss last night. And what's up with Kyle Bearclaw?
Well, he's having his struggles right now. I think we all know what's going on. You see somehow those at-bats are breaking down early. He doesn't have the fastball command. It's not letting him get to his secondary pitches, and of course they're becoming issues right now. Kyle's going to have to find a way to get this figured out. Hopefully, I really think in the Marlins' best interest, sometimes closers can do this. If you can get him a couple of situations where the pressure isn't so extreme to get him in the ball game and get that confidence back up. But it's a great dose of what actually a closer has to deal with. People don't forget, you don't forget. Every time you enter the game, the margin is so razor thin, and when you get to the other side of that margin, boy, it just feels like, you know, your world's caving in right now. Remember, he was the National League Reliever of the Month just, 4 weeks ago?
Yeah, back in June, he was terrific. He's trying to get back to that form. Well, speaking of good form, Trevor Richards is there. He has been nearly unhittable. 1 earned run allowed in his last 18 2/3 innings.
Yeah, it has been so much fun to watch. Now, it hasn't been, I've said the curveball. We got to see more curveball. No, that's not what he's done. He's actually gone more changeup, more fastball. And what's happened is that fastball command has been absolutely spectacular. He's been so good. And oh, by the way, the changeup, one of the best in the game.
It is a contrast of styles tonight, no question about it. A guy like Richards who loves the off-speed stuff and just how great that changeup is. Meanwhile, Vincent Velocity Velasquez is on the mound for the Phillies.
Man, this is a great matchup, Marlins fans. Now, here's the deal. The Philadelphia Phillies happen to be worse against the changeup than anybody in baseball. Who are they going up against? Richards. Well, guess what? The Marlins, they're one of the better teams against the fastball, and you got Vince Velasquez going. He's been hot right now, and he likes to elevate, so it should be a pretty fun matchup, or potentially a fun matchup for Marlins fans.
Absolutely, and for the Marlins, again, you get back on the horse today, try to wash away last night's tough loss, and they will do so against Velasquez tonight in the second game of this four-game set here in Philadelphia. We're going to step aside when we come back. We'll see if JB can pick up where he left off last night with that home run into right center field. Wasn't enough, however. Back in a moment. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. There's Tony Luke's. You got Pat's, you got Geno's, you got Tony Luke's. You got them all. Philly cheesesteak. Marlins and Phillies tonight, second of a 4-game set. Marlins looking to bounce back after a tough one last night. Nip and tuck all night long until the Phillies ended up walking things off. Here is a look at the Marlins starting lineup presented by Southwest as Starlin Castro leads things off. The rest of it, you got Brian Anderson and JT Realmuto. And JT currently riding an 8-game hit streak. And Justin Bour had the home run last night that snapped a hitless skid of a couple of days. The 0-1. Line right back, and it is 0-2 from Vincent Velasquez to Starlin Castro. For Velasquez, who mentioned it before, the guy is going to bring the heat in this his 21st start, 22nd game of the year. And that 4.02 ERA has been coming down. He's been pitching really well of late. I'll get to more of that in a second. Career versus the Marlins, 3-1 with a 2.63 ERA, so has history on his side. His last start, July 28th against the Reds, 5 innings, couple earned runs, did walk 5. Castro out to center field. Odubel Herrera drifting back. Will have plenty of room. And there is a 1 away. All right, let's get you the Auto Nation scouting report for tonight's ball game. He is definitely one of the hot hands in this Philadelphia Phillies rotation. 2 earned runs or less in 5 consecutive starts coming in. 1.67 ERA and only 1 home run allowed. More on that in a second. 4-seam frenzy. Now, that's how he gets it done. So get this, since June 14th, hitters are batting 111 against his 4-seam fastball. Throws it about 57% of the time. Marlins, though, as I mentioned in the open, very good against that fastball, so it should be something that we keep our eyes on tonight. Now, there is some home run potential as well, and you saw a deep drive off the bat of Castro. I think there's a chance tonight. 11 of the 13 home runs that Velasquez has given up have been right here in this ballpark. Tipped at the plate by Brian Anderson. The ball on the strike. Anderson last night 0 for 4. 3 for 13 with a home run and 2 RBIs on the road trip. One from Velasquez. Cut on and missed. Now from Velasquez, the right-handed hitters are going to see that 4-seam fastball about 62% of the time. Then you'll see the slider and the curve. It's a little bit reversed for the lefties. And of course, they do see a few more sinkers. Anderson out to center field. Herrera drifting toward left center this time and will make the play. We've seen Herrera twice, but who else makes up the defense? Well, here you go. Tonight's ball game, this Philadelphia Phillies defense will look just like this. Hoskins in left, Herrera in center, Williams over and right, Franco at third base, Kingery getting the start at shortstop, his 75th start at short this season. Hernandez at second, Santana and Alfaro behind the plate. A slightly different lineup for the Phillies tonight. We saw Cabrera in there yesterday. Tonight it's Kingery at short. Other than that, just about the same as JT Realmuto steps in. Had a hit last night. Up to an 8-game hit streak for the Marlins backstop, who offers at the first pitch and sends one out to Hoskins to complete an 8-pitch first inning. We'll see Trevor Richards when we come back. Marlins go 1-2-3 against Velasquez, and now this is the lineup that will face Trevor Richards tonight. Phillies starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Cesar Hernandez at the top. Rhys Hoskins, who has been on base in 19 straight games, hit second, and last night's hero, Maikel Franco, is in the number 5 spot, back at third today. Again, the only real change, Scott Kingery in there at short today. No Asdrubal Cabrera. He hits 8th. Everybody else slides up, but it is Trevor Richards on the mound. This is a guy who in his last 3 starts, as I said before, maybe not unhittable with the 10 hits allowed, but nobody's scoring runs against the guy.
Well, and it's kind of how Trevor's done it, and that's what's been so impressive. Again, early on, and we think back to, maybe some of the inconsistency, we saw moments of brilliance, and then we saw some moments where, boy, the fastball command's not there, and he doesn't really have a curveball. What's he going to do? Well, since coming back, he's really committed to sprinkling in that curveball and really using the changeup. Look at these last 3 starts. Absolutely dominant stuff. The fastball command has been improved, and the changeup, he trusts it in any count. And that's what is so important to this situation. People say, all right, well, what's the difference? What's the difference? I would say this: confidence. He is so confident in his 2-pitch arsenal right now with a little sprinkling of that curveball that he knows what he's doing and believes in what's about to happen.
This one will find the seat, stays a ball at 2 strikes to Hernandez. He's currently 0 for his last 13. Last night he was 0 for 4. Does have 10 hits this year against the Marlins. Well, there is a lot to like about what we just showed you with the last 3 starts from Richards, but for me what stands out is that he's giving the team some length, some innings. And he's been doing that quite a bit. It was the 5th time since he was recalled that he completed 6 innings of work. Now, it's all tied together, of course. You end up walking a bunch of guys. You're not going to last very long. You get hit around. You're not going to last very long, but he's been out there quite a bit. Left field line, Dietrich gives it a look.
Well, and you're absolutely right. The one thing that you think back to, where did he really turn the corner? We were just talking about this before the game. You go back to that DC start where he walked 7. And again, you could see moments in that game where he was really starting to figure it out. I know the bottom line probably doesn't tell fans that's what happened, but it is in fact, because since that moment in time, he has been so good with the fastball command, and the changeup has been his go-to pitch. I mean, it always was, but I mean even more than it was.
Pitching coach Juan Nieves getting a good look at Richards, who is even 2 balls and 2 strikes to the Phillies leadoff man Hernandez, who cuts and misses for the first out.
Yeah, that's a pretty good look at the changeup, and even when you know it's coming, so hard to defend. I've described it as, well, somewhat of a knuckleball. I mean, it's got arm side run to it, it's got depth, and Hernandez knows it's coming. These Philadelphia Phillies have seen him 2 times already this year. That should tell you how hard this is to do.
One out for Rhys Hoskins, who hit a home run in last night's ball game. Takes a ball upstairs. He has been red hot, Hoskins, since the All-Star break, hitting .346 with an OPS over 1,300. So you add up the on-base and the slugging, you get over 1,300. I mean, wow. 8 homers, 15 RBIs in that span. Well, down to the count, 0-2 to Richards. Small sample size, but 3 hits in 4 at-bats against Richards in his career.
Yeah, but not this Richards. I think it might be different tonight. We'll see.
Left field line, but that will hook foul. Hoskins needs to get a new bat. Well, you bring that up, and that's kind of where I was going to go with Richards and where he's at now. We know the background story and the independent ball and all that kind of stuff. The minor league pitcher of the year last year for the Marlins. But here we go, second half of the year. You're going to see probably a lot of Phillies, a lot of Nationals, a lot of Mets. That second, third time through, right, and be able to navigate these lineups again.
He's on his 3rd start against the Philadelphia Phillies. He's got great numbers coming in. I mean, there's certainly things that favor Richards, but when I mean it when I say it. When I use the word confidence, it seems simple, but that's where he's at. You get to the big leagues, you're trying to prove yourself. Now he knows he belongs.
Not the changeup, rather a fastball up. 2 outs.
All right, let's get you the Marlins defensively behind Richards tonight. Dietrich gets the start in left, Sierra in center. Anderson, a fantastic catch last night, also has 7 assists. That's tied for first in the National League over in right. Prado, Rojas, Castro, and Board. JT Realmuto behind the plate. Trevor Richards on the mound. Well, let me give you some numbers here over those last 3 starts. We threw the ERA at you, and here's probably what you want to hear about. Four-seam fastball. Now, hitters are generally hitting in the high 2s against that four-seam fastball. He throws 91, 92. But not of late, not over the last 3 starts. Only a 172 batting average against his fastball because he's playing it so well off the changeup. Coming into tonight, only 2 hits allowed in his last 3 starts against that changeup and 14 of his 18 strikeouts.
0-2 now to Odubel Herrera. 1 for 4 in last night's ball game, but 14 for 38 this year. That's a .368 batting average against the Marlins. This is low. In the count 1-2.
And the league average against a changeup in the National League is .227. The Philadelphia Phillies 178. In fact, that's actually the lowest number in all of Major League Baseball against the changeup.
It looked good in the first inning. He strikes out the side twice on his major weapon there, that changeup. 3 up, 3 down in the first. Justin Bour to lead things off, then Martin Prado and Derek Dietrich against Vince Velasquez and the Phillies. An 8-pitch first inning for Velasquez. And his first pitch of the second is in there for a strike on the outside edge to Justin Bour, who had a home run in last night's ball game. He was 1 for 4, a 2-run shot, and that home run snapped an 0 for 16 for JB. Did so in a big way, a loud home run to right center field. As we go back to last night.
Now back-to-back changeups. He gets to this one. Boy, oh boy, he unloads over 400 feet. Great swing. Great in-bat adjustment.
Another fly ball. This one to left center field. Hoskins on the edge of the track will make the play, and there is 1 out. Marlins fans, Fox Sports Florida and Southwest Airlines are giving you an opportunity to enter for a chance to win an all-inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend for the Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweepstakes, or sweeps rather, and hashtag sponsored to @FoxSportsFL for your chance to win. Martin Prado with one away. Martin last night 0 for 3.
Well, Prado, great career numbers against the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, cue shot off the end of the bat. Velasquez will make the play, 2 away. Five outs on 12 pitches.
Well, certainly some aggressive swings, and Marlins known to much more of a ground ball hitting team. So far, 4 fly ball outs.
Here is Derek Dietrich, 2 for 4 last night, 27th multi-hit game this year. A new career high in that category, had 26 each of the last 2 years. Hits a ball at the top of the zone. Home plate umpire tonight is Hunter Wendelstedt. Sean Barber is at first. Larry Vanover, the crew chief, at second. David Rackley at third. With the 2 hits last night, paired with the couple of games in Atlanta, Dietrich is 3 for 10 on the road trip. One-two on the way from Velasquez to Dietrich, and he misses outside to even up the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, Velasquez has always been something of a strikeout pitcher. In fact, this year his strikeout to walk ratio is up 7% compared to last year.
That's what's really turned his season around, is the fact that he's actually thrown a lot more strikes over the last, well, let's say 8 starts.
There is his first strikeout of the game. And an 8-pitch first and 9-pitch second. Scoreless. .com/giveaways. DJ Khaled bobblehead with the New York Mets in town. You can log on to, again, marlins.com/giveaways for all the details. I mean, we've had DJ Khaled, we've had the Sandlot one, we've had Pitbull, It was really my bobblehead. But I guess we can put Pitbull on it because he's slightly more famous than I am.
You
but
are not Mr. 305.
Not Mr. 305?
Not yet, anyway.
All right. Give it a few months. But yeah, the Pitbull bobblehead coming your way August 12th. Trevor Richards, 3 strikeouts in the first inning. You got Hernandez, Hoskins, and Herrera. Now it's Carlos Santana, Maikel Franco, and Nick Williams. For Santana, see the 217 average this year. It's his first year here in Philly, and he's struggled against the Marlins so far in 2018 as he gets out of the way of that one. He's just 6 for 39. Does have a home run, 4 RBIs in 10 games.
He had a couple hits last night. One thing that Santana can do is give you a long at bat. He can foul him off with the best of them. 3rd in the National League with 81 walks.
On the ground, Castro gets to it from the outfield grass to make the play.
Get it done, Starlin. How about you?
Well, he didn't need his defense in the first inning with the 3 strikeouts, but up to the task in the second.
Telling you, man, this is every last inch. This ball hit hard in the hole, and you see Starlin. That ball is past his right arm. All he had left was glove. No other way to knock it down. Able to get it and make a quick toss over to JB for a huge play. First out here in the second.
Castro with every bit of that 6'2" frame to make the play for the first out. And now last night's hero for the Phillies, Maikel Franco. Line, and that one will get over the head of Castro and into right field. And there's yet to have an answer for Franco.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
With that hit for the Phillies' third baseman, Franco is now 13 for 40, 5 home runs, and 18 RBIs in 10 games and 1 at-bat against the Marlins this year. And also with that hit, it's up to a 6-game hit streak overall. Here's Nick Williams. One for 3 last night was Williams. He had the dribbler to the left side of the mound. Turned out to be an RBI ground out that tied the game before the Franco home run. This one back to the screen, 0-2.
He kind of had one of the at-bats, one of the 2 at-bats, those 2 infield hits that just kind of set things in motion and really, I think, frustrated the situation. You got to Franco. I think we all kind of felt like momentum had slipped, but by that time, it just shows you the margin for error, really, for a closer. A couple of walks and a couple of balls that didn't even get to the infield dirt.
Ball and 2 strike to Nick Williams. And you saw a shot there of Kyle Bearclaw. There was certainly some speculation from the outsiders, I guess you could say. Writers, fans, all those who think, well, maybe it's time for Kyle Bearclaw to get a break from the closer's role. Jessica Blaylock, you talked to Don Mattingly. What are his thoughts?
Yeah, that's right. That's not going to be the case. You're going to continue to see Kyle Bearclaw as the closer. Don Mattingly said, look, he's going to go through some rough patches as he continues to transition into this role as closer, but we have full confidence in him. In talking to Kyle Bearclaw today, he realizes that most of his struggles really do come down to command. So last night he spent some time watching video, and it wasn't video of the struggles. It was video from June when he was pitching really well. He wanted to get those positive images back in his mind, remind himself of what it looks like to throw strikes. Guys.
Jessica, thanks. And there is a strike on Williams. 4th strikeout today as Richards dots the corner.
Well, and he picks this one up on the fastball, but you can tell, and you know, it's funny, the hitter in me plays along a lot of times with the hitters that I see getting in the box, knowing what's coming. And you could absolutely tell from Williams there that he was trying to defend against the changeup. And what did Trevor do? He just geared a fastball right down the middle of the plate, and he took it.
Looking for the local, got the express.
That's exactly right.
Here's Jorge Alfaro. I know there are 2 outs, but just to finish the thought, your thoughts on Bearclaw?
Yeah, he's going to have to grind his way through this. I mean, it's pretty clear to my eyes what he's struggling with. I was figuring, I thought maybe I'd have to move faster. Alfaro jumped in the box, and we know he likes to swing the bat, so I was thinking I might be tight here. All right, he's just got to really focus in on that fastball command. It opens up his game. I mean, Kyle's not the guy that comes into the ball game and throws you a first pitch changeup or a first pitch slider. We know that about him. That's who he is. But at the same time, he's got to be able to get that command. And right now, he's not putting the fastball where he wants it, and it's complicating his arsenal and really the sequencing that he'd like to use. Think about last night. Even in that last at bat against Maikel Franco, he ends up throwing a 2-0 curveball in a situation that demanded a low and away fastball or something maybe off that outside corner where damage can't be done with 2 outs, and he ends up hanging it. So the lack of fastball command is stressing out the rest of his arsenal. We haven't even really seen a good changeup from him, and we were raving about that in June because he hasn't been able to get to it. He's got to get that command back.
Well, that was ball 2 on Alfaro. Looked like it might have caught a good chunk of the zone, but instead Alfaro ahead in the count. 2 balls and a strike. Well, I was talking with the pitching coach Juan Nieves today, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter what your arsenal is. You could have, you know, an off-speed, be your bread and butter the way that Trevor Richards, or you could have like Velasquez, high velocity. But for everybody, no matter what your arsenal is, it all starts with the fastball.
Well, it's right, because the way big league hitters generally work is that's what they're geared up to hit unless they're forced to deal with secondary pitches. Much like last night, Maikel Franco, I heard after the game, that's exactly what he was looking for because he knew he couldn't throw his fastball for a strike. He was actually sitting on the 2-0 curveball, 2-0 slider.
2-2 to Alfaro, misses upstairs. Four strikeouts, accounting for the first 5 outs tonight for Richards. Struck out the side in the first. Benefit of a terrific defensive play at second by Castro for the first out before the Franco base hit. And Nick Williams strike out for out number 2. And now a 3-2 pitch. And just got a piece of it. Franco back to first base. Alfaro this year is 10 for 28, couple of home runs, 4 RBIs in 8 games against the Marlins. Another head start for Franco as that one misses away, and the Phillies will have 2 on and 2 out here in the second.
First walk of the ball game for Trevor Richards.
We've talked a lot about that 3-start run that he's on right now, and Holly, you mentioned it before, it was the start prior, so 4 starts back that he had 7 walks. His season high 7 walks against the Nationals on July 8th, but then 2 in his next start, 1 against the Rays, 2 against the Nats. He just issued his first here tonight. His first pitch to Kingery is in there for a called strike.
You got to be careful with Kingery. He slaps the ball around the yard, line to line. He's trying to get out of an 0 for 12 currently. Not start last night's ball game.
Throw down to second, and Franco is back. Trying to figure out where the ball is.
It's a little bit closer than I think we may have thought. Felt like a slow developing play, but Franco just in.
There's a strike. There is that fastball command. I mean, that is a perfect pitch. And low and away, outside corner.
Right.
He's dotted it already a few times today.
Yeah, and that's ideally what he needs to have when he's playing off of his changeup. You get a little bit more leeway if you're throwing your breaking ball for strikes and surprising some hitters, but that's not really been the game plan of late.
One and two. Just got a piece of that one. Well, we knew that coming into this season, when Trevor Richards got his first big league experience, hearing from those who've seen him firsthand, that changeup was going to be his out pitch. It's a major league put away pitch, is what President of Baseball Ops Michael Hill told me. And boy, has that ever been it for Richards recently. See if he goes back to it on 1-2. He tried, but Kingery stays alive. To right field, Anderson toward the line will make the play, and Richards leaves a couple of Phillies on base, scoreless through 2.
Park, where Shane Victorino was a part of tonight's pre-game festivities. He played for the Phillies from 2005 to 2012, won a World Series with them in 2008. He is still beloved around here, and he has signed a one-day contract to retire as a Philly. Now, to also honor him, the Phillies have handed out these massive face cutouts of Shane Victorino. So if you look around the ballpark tonight, you're going to see a lot of the Flying Hawaiian. Guys, what do you think of this?
I think we need to get one of those for Holly.
Big fan of the Flying Hawaiian. I like him. Good player.
No, no, no.
Energy.
No, not one for you, one of you.
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
My melon?
Yeah, your melon on there. What do you think of that?
My hair's too big.
Well, I don't have that problem.
Well, we weren't talking about your face. You were talking about mine.
But because I have such a big head, naturally it always gets back to me. See how that works?
I do.
Yeah. Miguel Rojas to lead things off. It is Rojas, Sierra, and Richards. Celebrating the 10-year anniversary all weekend long are the Phillies of their 2008 World Series championship team. fact, a very special night tomorrow. What it figures to be a very emotional night, too. The induction ceremony of Roy Halladay and Pat Gillick into the Phillies Wall of Fame tomorrow night. There's Shane Victorino with the Phillies TV crew right now. We'll have a guest coming up next half inning. Hitting coach Mike Pagliarulo will join us. We'll talk a little hitting. What's been going on with the Marlins? I mean, we talked about it a lot toward the end of July, that incremental rise in batting average the last few months from the beginning of the year to where they're at now. Oh, 2 to Rojas, fouls it back. I don't know if anybody's got a better game face than Pags. I know you know what I'm talking about. Around the cage,
he's got a game face on all hours of the day.
All hours of the day. Saw him outside the hotel today. He's getting ready to come to the ball. Game face.
That's right.
Just ready to roll. 96 miles an hour up and out of the zone as Velasquez has his second strikeout.
Now both strikeouts have come on the four-seam fastball, and both fastballs up at the top of the zone. That's what he does.
We got through the first inning with 8 pitches, the second inning with 9 pitches. So very efficient through the first 2. Gets his second of back-to-back strikeouts. Got Dietrich to end the second. Now Magnaioris Sierra swings and misses at the first pitch. May have gotten a piece. 0-1.
Would you agree that Velasquez is somewhat unique, I think, in the game today? In that, kind of hang with me, we talk velocity a lot, but he's still one of these kind of grip it and rip it guys. We see that 86 strikeouts of his 124 on the season have come on the fastball. I mean, we see him rear back and he's looking to blow hitters away.
Yeah. And tonight he's just throwing a ton of strikes.
Right.
Lots of fastballs, but 21-3. And I totally agree. He's got almost like a reliever's mentality.
Right. We talk Scherzer. You move around the game, and again, another strikeout at the top of the zone for second out here in the third inning. We talk about, all the time, Scherzer's even his arsenal, the slider and, everything else that he does, that little bit of a cutter. Not Velasquez.
Here is Richards. A couple of hits this year, none against the Phils. Well, I guess the other part of what you're talking about is that, like, older school guys, I guess the like 90s, it's almost like here's the fastball the first time through, and then we'll start mixing in the secondary stuff. It wasn't, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, with nowadays we see a lot of guys with that, I call it like a ninth inning game 7 slider, like the one you absolutely need, game on the line. We see it in the first inning.
Right.
So there's almost nowhere to go when you see that guy again in the 5th or the 6th inning.
Yeah, Velasquez's mentality is, if you can't hit my fastball, that's all you're going to get. See, a lot of times, you hear me say it a lot of times, guys need to set up their arsenal, guys need to use secondary pitches. But Velasquez is unique in that he continues to pump it by hitters.
He called strike 3, strikes out the side in the 3rd. He is set down 4 in a row on Cage. When we come back, we talk with the hitting coach, Pags, on the other side. Todd Hollingsworth in the broadcast booth down in the dugout. Very happy to be joined by the hitting coach, Mike Pagliarulo. Mike, pleasure to talk with you as always. Give me your thoughts on how this club has improved month to month and what you've seen through your eyes.
Well, I think the most important thing is figuring out at the beginning of spring training what we were as a club, and we've kind of evolved as a bunch of fighters and guys that go up there and battle with bats. And you know, we don't have a lot of home run hitters, but we have guys that they know how to compete, and that's what that's what the organization wants. And you know, these guys work real hard. We give them plenty of work in the cages and before the game, and give them what they need, and you know, all they have to do is go out there and compete as hard as they can, and they're doing that. I mean, to their credit, and it's a long season, and you know, we don't have a lot of big bangers on the team, but we got a lot of guys that are tough outs.
Hey, Pags, it's Holly. Let's talk about, you know, everything that you just said, but understanding it kind of in that team dynamic. Some young players, some veteran players. How have the younger players adapted to what they're being taught along with the veterans and kind of bringing it all together?
You know, the key to that is the veteran players, and they lead the way, and you know, teammates, they'll follow players more than anybody else. And so when you have guys like Starlin Castro and Martin Prado and Rojas, guys like that, those guys are really great role models. And JT Realmuto, of course, they're good role models, good people, and know how to play the game. They know how to prepare. And that's what we want all our young players to do, is get ready to play and be ready for the first pitch and battle wherever you get bat, no matter what the score is, no matter what the inning is, no matter what city we're in, whether it's raining, snowing, or hot out. So, you know, that's what we want.
You mentioned the word prepare, and I'm venturing to guess that from your playing days to now, the amount of information, as Velasquez sends one out to right field over the head of Anderson, who will play it off the wall. His throw in from right field is not in time. It'll be a double for Velasquez. His first double this season, and the second hit of the night for the Philadelphia Phillies. So to get back to my question, how has, whether it be the video or the analytics or scouting, whatever it is, how has the preparation changed from your playing days to now your coaching days?
Well, there's so much more, and I think it's a great advantage. We have a great group that pull the information in for us, and we have tremendous advanced scouts. We have great technology, and our guys in the front office, you know, they pull all up from our analytics department, and we pull it all together. And really, it's my job to give these guys what they need. And you know, they're kind of learning what's best for them once they learn their swings, and once they learn, you know, where they're going to be most successful. And we plan for our attack every day. We want to be aggressive. We want to attack the opposition, but we have to know what we're facing every day. So having all that information is valuable, very valuable. And so we just kind of give each guy a little bit of what they need, and everyone's a little bit different.
Can you get to the specifics of some of that, Pags? Because I think it's so interesting. I got to tell fans tonight about Velasquez and what we've seen from Velasquez tonight, first time through the lineup. He throws an awful lot of fastballs, likes to elevate, and you see that true four-seam fastball, right? 94, 95 miles an hour. And I tell everybody that, well, listen, the Marlins are one of the better fastball hitting teams in baseball. So get to that, you know, a little bit of the specifics of what the Marlins are kind of dealing with right now, even knowing that they're that good against the fastball.
Yeah, and really it's about each hitter individually, knowing where they like the ball, where they're going to be good. And your goal as a hitter is to get that pitcher to throw the ball where you like it. And so, I mean, if he throws the ball up and we get some guys that are good low ball hitters, that's going to be a tough matchup for us. So, you know, we have to look and see when he's going to beat down in our zone, and we focus on the zone where he's going to throw it, and we pull that information, pull it from video and analytics, and try to find out where he's going to be that day, where he's going to throw his strikes, and that's the zone that we want to attack. And so, you know, that's what we're trying to do tonight, and hopefully we'll do a better job of it the second round through.
Well, I know that you work hard. Frankie Minichino, you guys work really hard with this club. We appreciate the time. We'll let you get back to work.
Thanks, Pags.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Marlins will play the infield in with Velasquez on at third, Rhys Hoskins at the plate. And Hoskins takes a called strike. Not just the infield in, but three Marlins on the left side against Hoskins, who struck out in his first trip. 295 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. Prado, Rojas, Castro left to right on that left side of the infield as Hoskins does invite the off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. Hit his 9th home run against the Marlins in his career last night. They'll check. And the first base umpire, Sean Barber, says it's a swing. Citizens Bank Park faithful disagree, but one more look.
Well, I got to be honest, I thought it was a pretty good pitch.
That too, yeah, sure.
That's a couple of strikes that have gone against Hoskins tonight that I would argue are in the zone anyway.
One ball and 2 strikes from Richards. Out to center field, Sierra racing in, and he will have to play it on a hop. It's an RBI single for Rhys Hoskins, and the Phillies are on the board.
Yeah, you've got to give credit sometimes to the hitters. Hoskins goes down and gets just enough on that changeup and dumps it in center field. Enough to get the job done. No surprise. He's tied for first in the National League with go-ahead RBIs this season, 23 of them. He's just given the Philadelphia Phillies the lead.
Well, it's his 7th RBI against the Marlins this year, but 26th in 21 career games. A 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the third against Richards. Herrera, one of the 4 strikeout victims tonight for Richards, who struck out the side in the first inning. Once again, our thanks to Mike Pagliarulo, sitting next to Brian Schneider on his right. Bench coach Tim Wallach behind him. Of course, the skipper, Don Mattingly. And we have talked an awful lot about it. And we talked with the president of baseball operations, Michael Hill, the other night in a rain delay in Atlanta. Just heaping all sorts of praise on this coaching staff with this Marlins club here in 2018.
Well, you talk about consistency. I've said it in terms of what a manager likes. He wants consistency. And you know, this Marlins roster has been, well, very inconsistent. I'm not talking about the production. I'm just talking about the fact that there's been a lot of changes. You know, the coming and goings, trades, different guys, different spots, injuries.
Well, one thing that I think is fascinating now in an age where there is so much information, not every player receives it the same way.
Right. It's got to be delivered a lot of times in different ways.
I'm sure you had hitting coaches who might have been the best for you, but maybe not the best for somebody else. Just the way that a message is delivered. Kind of be able to speak your language.
It's absolutely unlock what's going on between the ears.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Herrera, who cuts and misses. Second time he is down on strikes tonight. That is 5 for Richards.
Miami, join us for our Neighborhood Night series. We are hosting Wynwood in Midtown Day at Marlins Park on Sunday, August 12th. Tickets start at just $12 for all residents of Wynwood in Midtown. For more information, visit marlins.com/Wynwood.
Three of the 5 strikeouts tonight on the changeup as Carlos Santana taps one foul. Santana, his first trip, made a bid for a base hit through the right side, but Starlin Castro was there to make a diving play and retire Santana to start the second. Here Richards trying to get him to end the third. inside. 2 balls and a strike. You mentioned the walks for Santana this year certainly being so much of a storyline for how his first season in Philly has played out. He's one of just 3 players in the major leagues with at least 60 RBIs and 80 walks. And the other 2 you may have heard of, Bryce Harper and Mike Trout. A run in for the Phillies on the Hoskins RBI single. They get a check on Hoskins over at first. Phillies have worked the pitch count up over 60 pitches here with 2 outs in the 3rd inning.
Well, we've seen a number of foul balls against the changeup. I kind of mentioned to you between innings after that first. When that happens, his pitch count will go up.
He does it again. Freezes a Philly. We are through 3. But Phillies on the board first. Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, and Jessica Blaylock with you. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Nice night here in Philadelphia as we see the top of the Marlins order against Vincent Velasquez. And he starts Castro with a breaking ball in there for a called strike. It is Castro, Anderson, and Real Muto. Velasquez has struck out the last 4 Marlins he's faced.
You know what's so interesting about that? No contact. His last 8 swings for the Marlins have actually been swing and misses.
Rocks and fires to Castro. Well, we saw a lot of fastballs first trip through the lineup, but granted it's only been 3 pitches here, but he's taking a little off this time
if you
around.
see 80-85% fastballs, what do you go up there looking for?
Usually
knowing what he did the first time through, you say to yourself, well, we better look for the heater.
He got one there, hit sharply to second base, but Hernandez for the first out.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
One down for Brian Anderson. Well, Velasquez, who had an eventful bottom of the third inning with that scorching double to right field and came around to score. Involved in the game. Anytime you see a pitcher with dirt stains on his pants, you know he's involved in the game somehow. Upstairs to Anderson, who flew out to Herrera back in the first inning. You still get that same thrill as a big leaguer to get your uniform dirty that the kids get, like you playing Little League baseball, high school baseball.
I mean, I can't speak for the guy. I mean, it's been a while since I mean, even when we played softball at the 25-year reunion, I thought about laying out a couple times.
Just for the heck of it. You just want to feel like
I liked it.
You're involved.
I always did. Only thing I didn't like was dirt in my shoes. I was never a big fan of that. But that's okay. As long as I was sliding. I mean, back in the day, I mean, the staffs today do a phenomenal job of getting the uniforms looking right. I mean,
you mean they're not new every day?
Well, no, they do. What I'm saying is that, you know, in my generation, you know, a lot of times you'd keep your pants, like, they would be sewn and you could tell, and then they would be a different color white, if you know what I mean.
Yes. It's like no pinstripes on the Phillies' knees or something.
You would wear them out.
Two balls and 2 strikes to Anderson. Like he was digging in for that curveball. Velasquez, that is. Anderson chokes up with 2 strikes as per usual. Here it comes on 3-2. This one will reach the seats.
Well, we've talked an awful lot about Vince Velasquez tonight and that batting average again since June 14th, and a lot of times we kind of end up going down a path and we learn an awful lot about what's kind of going on in the game. Well, look at this. Tomorrow night starter Eflin, Sunday starter Nola, tucked in at the bottom of this list. That should tell you an awful lot how good this starting staff has been and what really is leading the way. I think what's so interesting, at least with Nola and Velasquez, well, or at least I should say Nola, and we have seen it from Velasquez here, he's got a great breaking ball. Nola does as well. But you see the batting average against the fastball, and again, how it plays off of it. That's what to me is so impressive. When you get into a good groove, numbers like this start to show up. Trevor Richards right now is going through a very similar thing. The batting average against his fastball is down well over 100 points, in large part because of the great changeup.
And Anderson works the 1-out walk. It's the first base runner tonight for the Marlins.
I'll tell you what, that was a professional at bat by the young Mr. Anderson. A number of times we saw that first time through. Velasquez really wants to climb the ladder. He wants you to go up and try and hit that fastball and pop it up. He's a fly ball pitcher. Anderson laid off 2 tough fastballs to earn that walk.
Velasquez again very efficient. First 2 innings had 30 pitches through 3. That was an 8-pitch walk for Anderson to bring Real Muto to the plate, who swings at the first pitch down the right field line. Williams fly ball in the first inning for Real Muto. He has been aggressive. The rest of the Marlins have been aggressive. Mentioned the 8-pitch at bat for Anderson. No other at bat tonight has gone more than 5 pitches. I mean, he's been pouring in strikes.
Well, and you know, any hitter will tell you the better strike comes early in the count, and that's exactly what you're looking for. You're not looking for the elevated fastball at the letters at the top of the zone where you have a chance of swinging and missing. I mean, ideally what they're looking for is fastballs out over the plate that might be a little bit more thigh high. This Marlins team, a very good fastball hitting team. I mentioned it, 275 batting average against coming in. JT Realmuto, he's the best hitter in the National League against right-handed starters.
Oh, 2 from Velasquez. Out to center field. Herrera puts on the brakes to make the play. So with 2 outs and 1 on, that'll bring up Justin Bour. Another night game tomorrow here in Philadelphia. South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show, on the air at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Gabby Sanchez in studio. Preview Jose Urena and Zach Eflin. And in all likelihood, probably get a little bit of a sneak peek as Bour punches one out to the left side of the mound. Instead, he is out. 1-0. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic, stiff joints, aches and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. It kind of feels a little bit like Christmas. The boathouses. Here just outside Philadelphia as Trevor Richards comes back out. As we move to the home half of the 4th inning, he'll face Maikel Franco, Nick Williams, and Jorge Alfaro, with the Phillies up 1-0 on the RBI single from Rhys Hoskins. 6 strikeouts to this point for Richards. Of course, his season and career high 10 against the Dodgers in late April. His first pitch to Franco misses low. Franco a base hit in the 2nd inning. Got a piece of his foot or leg.
Yeah, I think that's the left foot instep. Ball right off the bat, straight down. It was a changeup.
Franco playing in the 500th game in his career. Point to that. Yep, top of the foot.
Been there, done that. That is not a fun feeling right there. You know what he needs?
The spray.
Yes.
Absolutely the spray.
He needs the cold spray.
It doesn't penetrate the shoe, right? You got to go.
You just take it off.
You take off the shoe. I just don't know how powerful this spray is. That's
apparently
all.
It's pretty powerful.
It's numbing spray. And I'm infatuated with.
That's right.
Take a little time to walk it off.
Well, you want to play another game?
Sure.
What pitch do you think he throws right here?
Well, hey, why not?
How about the exact same one?
Oh, there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he went inside with a fastball. He got him thinking about it.
Little late there.
Well,
Franco was a little late.
You see hitters do this, right? It's what every good pitcher does. Is you foul one off your foot, they try to throw that pitch again right after you. I'll tell you what, Franco doing his best to get that front foot out of the way on that swing.
Absolutely. Now, you could probably answer me this question. So he gets hit in the foot. The trainer comes out and immediately presses on the foot. Like he's trying to see if there's a broken bone. I get it. But, like, where does it hurt? Right here? Ow. Yeah, right there. The guy gets hit in the hand. The trainer comes out, shakes his hand. It hurts. What do you want from me? It hurts. Don't touch me.
Well,
I get what they're doing, but it seems mean.
Really what you're doing is buying time. You're hoping to be able to stay in the game. Obviously, everything's okay for now for Franco.
Chases that one. Franco trying to make the case that it was in the dirt. JT says, I don't think so, pal.
No. Need none of that. Strikeout number 7 here in the 4th. Another fantastic changeup.
No, it hit the dirt. No, it did not.
I don't think he foul tipped it.
Nick Williams. Toward right center field, but Brian Anderson is there to make the play. And there are 2 outs here in the 4th. Bring up Jorge Alfaro. The only walk tonight for Trevor Richards. He's back in the 2nd inning. For him to draw a walk is really saying something. He's got the lowest walk percentage on the Phillies team. Entered the day 4.6 walk rate. Also the highest strikeout rate among the Philadelphia Phillies at just under 38%.
Yeah, we documented it last night. In fact, he swung at every pitch in last night's ball game. He loves swinging at the first pitch, and 61.5% of the time he swings the bat, which is highest in baseball. Comes into the night, he's like, I'm taking tonight. So far it's worked. Walk his first time up, ahead 2-0 here in the bottom of the 4th.
The everyday catcher for the Phillies for now. Of course, they made a trade with the Tampa Bay Rays at the deadline to acquire Wilson Ramos, who is on the disabled list. Ramos hopes to get back by the middle of August. Maybe a little later than that. But Ramos, along with JT Realmuto, certainly 2 all-star catchers, yes, but also very, very highly sought after by a number of clubs around baseball. The Marlins are certainly happy to still have him. Two-1 to Alfaro. Right back to the screen. 2-2.
Yeah, and that was another good example of what Richards has been able to do during this outstanding run he's been on. So he fell behind 2-0, obviously went to the changeup, and that was fouled off. But back to that fastball command. He put that exactly where he wanted. If he would have got contact on the 91-mile-an-hour fastball, it wouldn't have been hit very hard. We all know Alfaro certainly can square up a baseball, and when he does, he hits it hard.
This one lined out to left field, and Dietrich will play it off the wall. Alfaro slams on the brakes. He will be held to a single. Boy, that got out there quick. And Dietrich got to it quick to get it in. 2-out single for Alfaro.
A nice job by Dietrich not to chase this all the way to the wall. Once you realize it's over your head, the best thing you can do is give yourself a little space so that you can do just that. Now, the farther you get, or excuse me, the closer you get to the wall, the more you kind of handcuff yourself. As an outfielder, you want to give yourself a little space, especially if you know you're not going to catch it. He did just that, able to hold Alfaro to a single. Well done. Good read.
Low and away to Kingery. Kingery with a fly ball to Anderson back in the second inning. You know, I gave the walk rates and the strikeout rates for Alfaro, that he was the highest strikeouts, lowest walks. He's also got the highest batting average on balls in play, and that hit will probably move him over 400. That paired with his terrific arm leads Major League Baseball most caught stealings by a catcher. Saw it last night. Still figures to be Ramos's job when he comes back. It was interesting that the day that the Phillies made the trade for Ramos, later that night, it was earlier this week actually, obviously it was the deadline. The Phillies were in Boston. Alfaro had himself a nice night. Phillies also made a trade for Asdrubal Cabrera because Scott Kingery's been going through some growing pains this year, hitting .228 at the moment. Striking out about 25% of the time, but ahead in the count 3-1 here. He draws the walk. Second of the night for Richards. 2 on, 2 out for the Phils. And here comes the pitcher, Velasquez. There's Ramos. And you got to be careful with Velasquez. He had a double over Anderson's head in right field back in the third inning.
Well, he picked on a fastball away. See how Richards goes at him this time. I'm sure he'll see a few more changeups.
Tell you what, he pine tars the heck out of that bat like a hitter too, doesn't he? See, it does. Glistening from up here. Right field line, and this one will get into the seats. 0-2. Check that, 1-1. Well, there are some Phillies that have good career numbers against the Marlins, and apparently Velasquez is another one of them. Seven strikeouts to this point for Richards. Pitch number 85 on the way. Out to Dietrich in left. He'll make the play. Richards wiggles out of some trouble in the fourth, leaves a couple of Phillies. The Rocky steps in Philadelphia.
the 5th inning. Marlins still looking for their first hit of the game. I'll tell you what, JB, I love this idea. You see Velasquez, boy, oh boy, he is a tremendous athlete. We've seen him swing the bat already. He's got a double in tonight's game. He scored the only run. You see that play one more time. This is what else he can do. This was just a few weeks ago. In fact, took one off the right arm. Glove comes off, fields the ball. Yep, that's right. Throws it left-handed to first base. Look at the strike he threw. My goodness.
It's like Pat Venditti, like Greg Harris out there.
Well, it's like you watch Bourne. That's a tremendous idea. I loved how he's thinking right there. He, Velasquez is locked in. They're going to shift me over here. All I got to do is bunt one to the left side. Well, does it really have to be a perfect bunt to the left side? Maybe it does with Velasquez on the mound.
Yeah. Hey, he said after that he was just trying to make a throw. Didn't know where the ball was going to go. Tell you what, though, it had some juice on it.
It's spot on. He was a bullet to first. That's a 10 out of 10. You couldn't have done that better in PFPs.
You'd think he was a lefty with that throw, for goodness sakes. Now Martin Prado to lead things off, then Derek Dietrich and Miguel Rojas. Phillies have a 1-0 lead. And a called strike to Prado, who grounded back to Velasquez in the second. Prado's got hits in 7 of his last 10 games. It was 0 for last night, however. In the 20 games since coming back from the disabled list, Prado hitting a little under 300. 5 doubles, 10 RBIs. Marlins are still looking for their first hit tonight against Velasquez. This should really come as no surprise with this young man. He's carried a no-hitter through 5 innings already on a few occasions this season. And there is a called strike 3. Prado to get a better understanding there from Wendelstedt.
Well, I got to be honest with you, a little of this might even go back to last night. Prado took a couple of pitches up there at the top of the zone, including an elevated breaking ball last night that he did not like, that I thought was outside the strike zone. That actually looked like it kind of was able to cross near maybe the top, but I would not be surprised if this didn't stem even from last night.
Here's Dietrich. Takes a strike. That one a little further outside the zone than the previous pitch to Prado. Dietrich a strikeout victim back in the second inning. 5 Ks so far for Velasquez. 0-2.
That ball comes out of his hand so high, the big breaking ball so high that you kind of give up on it as a hitter, and it's got late movement down into the zone.
Alfaro set up way outside. Velasquez missed his spot, but Dietrich fouls it away. Now, just to finish that thought on Velasquez, it's only 4 1/3, so nobody's sending out those emails and texts to flip on the TV just yet. But this has kind of been something of a theme this season to some degree for Velasquez. Again, a no-hitter through 5 innings. A couple of starts ago against the Padres on July 22nd. Also against the Dodgers in late May and against the Rockies in mid-June. The last Philly with 3 such starts in the season, Steve Carlton. In 1979, 4 times he had a no-hitter through 5 innings. That one upstairs, and Dietrich able to limbo out of the way of it.
Oh, man, I'll tell you. I certainly understand what Velasquez is trying to accomplish here. He's already set up a couple of breaking balls to the outside part of the plate, and he does pitch at the top of the zone. Those two combinations could lead a lefty to drift in a little bit, get everybody's attention.
Cut on and missed. That is 6 strikeouts for Velasquez.
When you combine the most provocative man in sports with the most interesting man in sports, you get opinion that cuts right through the hype. Catch Speak for Yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Here is Miguel Rojas. Struck out to begin the 3rd inning.
Well, we've certainly seen a few more breaking balls tonight. You go back to the April 7th start versus the Marlins. 6 innings, 4 hits, only 1 earned run allowed. He did have 6 strikeouts that night. Threw a season high 67 fastballs.
It's almost like facing a different pitcher. When he was so good with the fastball the first time around, seeing the breaking ball a lot here the second time, it's like a whole new guy.
Well, and that's kind of pitching to, you know, your game plan, regardless of the results. Not everybody can do that.
And Rojas with a base hit into left field. Thinks about second, but will hang out at first with the Marlins' first hit.
Four and 2/3 gets him a cheer from the Phillies fans. Well, this breaking ball just stayed up a little bit more. Didn't have that late action down in the zone. Certainly Rojas, good swing, stayed on it. Not fooled by it. Now we talk about game planning, right? First time through, saw those fastballs, 94, 95, elevated, picked up a few strikeouts along the way, and then went to the breaking ball a little bit more the second time through. I know exactly what you're talking about, but the willingness to do that anyway, despite the results the first time through. Not easy for everybody in the game to do that. You say, oh, well, wait a minute now, it's working. Why would you change the game plan? Well, there's a reason behind it.
If it ain't broke.
Well, he's got the capabilities of using multiple pitches. And you see when what that breaking ball is essentially done the second time through, because he's throwing it for strikes.
0-2 to Sierra, who struck out in the 3rd inning. That was the frame in which Velasquez struck out the side. Due up next is Trevor Richards, but it's JT Riddle on deck. May depend on the situation, although Teheran Guerrero is up for the Marlins in their bullpen. Going to check on Rojas over at first base. First time that they have gotten a base hit tonight, but the second time that he's worked out of the stretch. He walked Anderson in the 4th. Sierra trying to battle, a ball and 2 strikes. Another hit last night for Sierra. 4 for 11 on this road trip. Had the 3-hit night the other night in Atlanta. Rojas goes in the dirt. Alfaro's throw is in time. And the throw is on the second base side of the bag. Kingery applied the tag. One more look.
That ball almost left Alfaro's glove. Strong throw. My goodness.
Clearly out. Boy, oh boy. What a cannon. 1-0. A 1-0 Phillies lead going to the last of the 5th inning. Top of the order for the Phillies, Cesar Hernandez, Rhys Hoskins, and Odubel Herrera against Trevor Richards, who stays out there. They check. It's a swing, and it's 0-1. You saw the caught stealing at the end of that inning with Alfaro delivering a strike down to second base. Not an easy ball to get rid of quickly. His pop time was still 1.95. His arm strength was still 89.5 miles an hour.
It almost seemed like the ball was, towards the back of the webbing of his glove because of where, the pitch took him. And he made up for it. We watched Holiday all season long. Obviously, JT Realmuto, Alfaro. One of the great gifts that all three of them really do possess is the ability to kind of cover up for, any advantage that maybe a base runner gains, whether it's a guy on the mound that's a little bit slower. Another changeup down, high fly ball into center. There's out number 1. We talk pop time and the ability to kind of help their pitchers out.
Absolutely. Let's check in with Jessica.
Hey, Paul, last night you talked about Rhys Hoskins participating in this year's Home Run Derby. Well, his biggest fan, his dog, Rookie. Yeah, that's right. Take a look at those photos. When anyone else was up, Rookie had no interest in watching, but when his dad was at the plate, Rookie was locked in. Talk about a good boy. That is truly man's best friend right there.
Was that a yellow lab, Jessica?
It looks like a yellow lab. The yellow lab Rookie was hanging out with Rhys's teammate, Scott Kingery. Kingery, the one who posted those photos online.
Ah, okay. You do not have yellow labs, right, Jessica? You have
no, I have Chihuahuas.
Chihuahuas, right. What were they, Cheeto Face and Buster Bunny, or what is it called?
Yeah, you're very close.
What are their names?
Liz Lemon and Chester Copperpot.
Ah, right.
Paul, I'm going to need you to remember that from here on out.
No chance. There is zero chance, Jessica, that I will remember the name of your dogs ever in my life. It's one of those things. It's just going to be a mental block. I'm not going to get it.
I'm fuming down here. You don't even want to see my face right now.
No, yeah. See, mine's easy. Mine's Homer. Simple. That's it. Anyway, thank you, Jessica. Appreciate the report. Low and away to Hoskins. 3 balls and a strike. Well, Harlan Garcia up. Added to the roster a few days ago. Haven't seen him since he's been brought back to the big club. 3-2 now to Hoskins.
And just when you convince yourself that you're going to get a fastball, right, you get the changeup. He's been doing it all game long. And that pitch count's up a bit. Certainly that's why you're seeing the bullpen activity. Richards has done a very nice job tonight.
Prado backs up to get the good hop, and he retires Hoskins for the second out here in the 5th. Time for This Day in Marlins History, presented to you by Geico. Again, a Phillies-Marlins matchup. The only run that day was a Dan Uggla home run, number 144, to pass Mike Lowell for the Marlins club record. That was August 3rd, 2010. Of course, Dan Uggla, a Rule 5 pick of the Marlins and a Rule 5 choice of the Phillies. Shane Victorino honored before the game. Victorino part of that 2008 World Series championship team. Going to be a special weekend, as we mentioned before. On the air a little later tomorrow with the pregame show, 7 o'clock. First pitch a little after 7:30, as they honor Roy Halladay and Pat Gillick tomorrow. So as the guys, Craig, Tommy, Gabby, get you set for the game tomorrow night. Certainly peek into the festivities here at Citizens Bank Park. One ball and one strike to Herrera, who needs a chin strap. 1-2. Huh. I promise I can't make hair jokes anymore, so I won't. Mainly because I'm jealous.
You've lost the right.
Yes. I forfeited the right.
That's right.
I could fake it. I choose not to. Buzz it every 3 days. Keep it neat, Holly.
We appreciate that.
2-2. This is outside. Count runs full to Herrera.
Yeah, this pitch will be 1-0-1.
Payoff pitch on the way. Right to Castro at second. And Richards, through 5 innings, surrendered just the 1 run. Marlins have just 1 hit. Here, just 5 hits on the board. Marlins have but 1 against Vincent Velasquez, as Trevor Richards is through 5 innings, up over 100 pitches. But he has kept the bats relatively quiet. The only run for the Phillies came across on a Rhys Hoskins RBI single in the 3rd. Ignaoris Sierra tries to bunt. He was at the plate when Miguel Rojas was caught stealing to end the 5th. We talked about the contrast in styles, with the strength for Richards being the off-speed pitch and Velasquez the velocity. Also the fact, well, through 5 innings, Richards over 100. Here we are on the top of the 6th, and Velasquez at 66. 0-2 to Sierra. JT Riddle in the on-deck circle. So the night looks to be done for Richards. Velasquez, 10 quality starts in 20 outings this year. Talk a lot about quality starts over the course of the next couple of days, as this Philly staff has put together quite a few of them throughout the season. Sunday starter Austin Nola with what, 17 in 22 outings?
Well, it's really been the backbone of who they are. I mean, when you look at their offensive numbers, you say, okay, well, they do, a couple of things really well, but generally speaking, their numbers are, middle of the pack for the most part. That's the one thing that they do, is their starting staff has been absolutely outstanding at giving them a chance to win just about every night.
Well, excuse me, swing by Sierra from the seat of his pants. Franco makes the throw, but Sierra beats it out. About a 3/4 swing from Sierra, still got to Franco in a hurry.
And it tells you how hard the ball comes off the barrel. My goodness. Look at this play. I can't believe from his backside that he was able to get as much as he did on that throw. Philadelphia Phillies are going to go to the review.
I'll tell you what, if I'm being honest, to look to the naked eye, even with the speed of Sierra, that he was out. First base umpire Sean Barber said safe, so he and the crew chief Larry Vanover will get together. And this might be a telling angle. And if they see that angle, I don't know if this will take very long. About to hear it from the crowd. They're showing it on the big board.
Yeah, I bet they're going to see this angle.
There you go. Well, that is a heck of a play by Franco.
My goodness. Are you surprised at how much he was able to get on the throw from his backside?
Yeah.
I mean, that was as if he was on his own, on his 2 feet behind the bag. Now watch this. I mean, this is a special play, and leaving his feet and coming up with the ball, and that's what's quite impressive. But there, my goodness, I did not think he would close the gap with a strong throw across the diamond, and he did.
I'll tell you what, that's no slouch of a runner either.
No, part of what we're saying is that Sierra is one of the faster Marlins.
Well, it's not going to be JT Riddle. It'll be Yadiel Rivera to pinch hit here with 1 out in the 6th inning. So the night officially done for Trevor Richards, as Rivera takes a called strike. Well, 5 pretty good innings, threw a lot of pitches, didn't
really walk an awful lot. He only walked 2, 7 strikeouts, but up over 100 pitches in 5 innings of work tonight for Richards.
Well, and I think that's the way the Phillies would say that's a victory for them. Not only do they have the 1-run lead, but the idea is that at times you can get a starter out of a ball game. They did not come in having great success against Richards. He had fantastic numbers against him. This is his 3rd time facing the team. What did the Phillies do better against him this time than maybe the last 2 times they saw him? They fouled off a few changeups. That's it. It's really what it comes down to, and we're able to drive that pitch count up. Think back to the 1 base hit that Hoskins has, by the way, hottest hitter on the planet right now, and what he had to do to even come up with that hit. So all in all, my personal opinion, a fantastic outing. He's going up against maybe a different team right now. He probably would have gone a little bit longer and probably even more strikeouts. There's nothing to say he's out of the zone. He's certainly well in it.
Well, if I had to guess, and I went through this, and this comes out of the might only interest me department, but the last 5 starts for Richards, something funky has happened. I went through and I figured this out. 16-inning Rays win in a Trevor Richards start as Rivera grounds one to second base. Then a 20-single afternoon for the Marlins against the Nationals. He faced Aaron Nola and outdueled him. The Rays had a walk-off grand slam in one of his starts, and then his last start, JT Realmuto, a walk-off hit in the 10th inning. So stay tuned. Something crazy might happen at the end of this one.
Well, keep the game close. We've talked about it. Marlins play an awful lot of 1-run ball games. So do the Phillies.
Back to the top of the lineup for Starlin Castro. Straight back. Fly out in the 1st, a ground out in the 4th. 2-way here in the 6th for Castro.
Well, Castro 122 hits on the season. That's 4th most in the National League. He's tied for first with 90 singles.
Castro's also made a nice defensive play today. Trying to do anything to jumpstart the offense against Velasquez, who has been in control tonight. 6 strikeouts to this point for him. The 1 walk. Very efficient with the pitch count, under 80 here with 2 outs in the 6th. Phillies started the day a half game clear of the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. The Braves are currently leading the Mets 2-1 in the top of the 7th. Washington Nationals rained out today. No swing, says Sean Barber.
Now, along with leading the National League in singles, Starlin Castro also leads the National League in 2-strike hits, 54 of them.
Three-two pitch on the way. Swung on and missed. That is 7 strikeouts through 6 innings of work for Velasquez. Marlins find themselves down a run. We play on here in Philadelphia. Second game of a 4-game set. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. We focus in on Austin Dean playing with the New Orleans Baby Cakes at AAA. Hits in 5 of his last 6 games, 4 multi-hit games. A 4th-round pick in the Marlins back in 2012. Also on that club, Eric Campbell. Another couple of hits for him. 2 doubles to tie a season high. 10th in the PCL in batting average, .316. He was a Campbell, that is, a mid-season all-star. Teheran Guerrero takes over for Richards. 43rd game for Guerrero. Seen him a couple of times off the disabled list. Missed time with that back injury. And he'll face 4, 5, and 6 for the Phillies here in the 6th inning. Santana, Franco, and Williams. So 5 innings from Richards before he gives way to the tall, fireballing righty Guerrero.
Guerrero's last time out, July 31st in Atlanta. Give up a couple of hits and a run. Lefty's sitting a little bit higher, 271. Righty's 242.
Santana takes upstairs. Made a bid for a hit in the 2nd inning, had it taken away by Starlin Castro, and struck out looking in the 3rd. Foul backing out of play. A ball and a strike to the Phillies' first baseman.
Now Guerrero, 11.85 strikeouts for 9 innings. Pretty solid ratio. That's 11th best in the National League. 54 strikeouts, 41 innings.
Marlins have 3 on the right side against Santana, who takes the ball in the dirt, 2-1. StatCast AI powered by AWS, and this is why. A distribution of balls in play on the ground in the infield.
I'm telling you, Marlins lead the National League on playing right on the lines. Absolutely amazing to me. We show, you know, the 8 and the 10% on the left side of the infield. We've got Martin Prado sitting right in the middle of the line, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just perfect. Everybody right where they're supposed to be every time.
I think that's Trustin Perry Hill. You lock eyes with him in the dugout, you know I'm supposed to be here or there.
Yeah, well, trusting Perry Hill or obeying Perry Hill.
Well,
I can go with obey.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Perry knows above and beyond just about everybody when it comes to infield defense.
Three balls and 2 strikes from Guerrero. Here it comes, a little upstairs, and Santana draws the walk.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
Here is Michael Franco. Base hit in the 2nd inning, struck out in the 4th. Took an infield hit away from Sierra. On an unbelievable diving play, spun from his wallet to get the speedy Sierra after a review that went the Phillies' way. Now he bats with Santana on at first. That one misses upstairs, and it's 1-0. Tap foul. The strikeout of Franco back in the 4th inning came as something of a surprise, I guess you could say. The only player in the major leagues with 18 or more home runs and fewer than 50 strikeouts this season. You do not see that very often. I mean, 18 home runs, and no, it's not leading the league, I understand that, but still a respectable number for sure, and the fact that he's under 50.
Yeah, 49. Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right. I noticed that in the notes.
On a hop, maybe a little knuckler to Rojas. And they'll double up Franco.
Join us at the Better Halves Back to School Drive on Saturday, August 11th. Help support a great cause by donating new and unopened school supplies. And to make a donation, will receive 2 ticket vouchers to a Marlins game this season. Drop off all donations at the home plate and first base entrances the time the gates open for the first pitch.
That series against the Mets on the next homestand, which begins Monday against the St. Louis Cardinals. A 3-game set with the Redbirds, an off day on Thursday, and then the Mets in for 3. Nick Williams 0 for 2 tonight. One of the 7 strikeout victims for Richards back in the second. Also flew out to Anderson and takes away 1-1. Victor Arano up for the Phillies. Phillies bullpen that has been superb the last month and a few days. Since July 1st, 98 1/3 innings pitched from the Phillies bullpen and a major league best 2.47 ERA. Marlins will have to either mount a rally against Velasquez or the bullpen. Williams with a sinking line drive base hit into left center field to keep the inning going. Now with Brad Ziegler in Arizona, it'll be interesting to see who takes over that role of guy who could come in, work a clean inning, or maybe first and second, 1 out, kind of get out of a jam the way Ziegler was able to be a bit of a fireman for the Marlins for a good month and a half. Saw Guerrero come in with a clean inning here, but again, just kind of an overarching question for who may take over.
Well, I think it's an opportunity. I mean, really, it's really what so much of the conversation's been about all the way back to opening day. Opportunity. Guys stepping into roles, guys doing, the next thing. Javi Guerra's been pitching some leverage situations of late. I mean, that's kind of the idea behind it. You do the job, you step into that role. Adam Conley has been absolutely fantastic. Kind of earn your keep, if you know what I mean.
Oh, 2 to Alfaro, who has faced Guerrero twice and struck out both times. Comes from Guerrero, and the breaking ball is in there for a called strike 3. Perfect pitch. 1-0 Phillies though through 6. Terrific outing by both starting pitchers. This is just a 1-0 lead. Trevor Richards is good through his 5 innings of work, but maybe a little bit better. Vincent Velasquez. Boy, this guy had an 0.95 ERA in July, lowest ERA among any NL pitcher. He's keeping it going in August. After he doubled, he came in to score on the Rhys Hoskins RBI single. So Velasquez involved on both ends tonight, on the mound and at the plate, as Hoskins has driven in the only run Marlins have but 1 hit against Velasquez, who is back out for the 7th inning. He's got as many hits as the Marlins do tonight. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. We'll face Brian Anderson, JT Realmuto, and Justin Bour here in the 7th. Well, not anymore. Marlins now have 2 hits compared to Velasquez's 1. Anderson's thinking about 2. He's on his way to second with a leadoff double.
Yeah, this was kind of a key spot. I was wondering if Velasquez would go back out. Anderson's had the best at bats today. A deep fly ball first time up and a great walk in the 4th. He picks on a center cut fastball to start the 7th. Marlins in business.
Tying run in scoring position as Anderson stays pretty hot over the course of his last 9 games, sitting around .333. So JT Realmuto is riding an 8-game hit streak. A chance to tie this game or more in the 7th. Takes a called strike.
Sometimes I find it so interesting with Brian Anderson. We a lot of times praise him for his long, lengthy at bats, much like we did his second at bat when he walked. He's hitting well over 400 on the first or second pitch of an at bat this season. Just outstanding numbers. His 53rd hit.
The newly acquired Aaron Loop, the lefty. And Arano still throwing for the Phils. Next pitch will be number 85 for Velasquez. Here comes the 0-2 pitch to JT. Ground ball to short. Kingery thought about third, instead throws high to first and in there safely. As the first base umpire Sean Barber says Santana was off the bag.
Wow.
Again, to the naked eye, much like the last time the Marlins were up, I thought he was out on the tag.
Yeah, all sorts of miscommunication. Watch this. Kingery's thinking about going to third base. Maikel Franco, no shot at going to third base. Didn't even really make a move. I'm telling you, JT may have gotten that left foot in.
You might have a point.
That's what I was watching.
Yeah. And no play at third, and then Kingery, the high throw. Now, and again, the call on the field is safe, so there's got to be enough evidence to overturn the call. That particular angle that we just saw, I don't think would be enough.
Well, and there's a lot of things at work here. You know, with the ball, the ground ball. Well, let's look at this one more time over at first base.
And they're about to hear it here in Philly. Or see it, rather. There you go.
Yeah, it gets him on the waist. I mean, you can almost see, though, how you'd be fooled by that because you're watching Santana's foot come down, and I think that's what maybe was being watched. You see the tag, obviously, at the belt. Even going back to the ground ball to Kingery. Remember, Maikel Franco fouled off a ball off his foot. JT's heading off the field. So Gabe Kapler might be coming out to make a change. Now, we saw it on the ground ball double play. Franco did not run hard to first base. I mean, he was not moving well, and on this ball that was hit to Kingery, obviously Maikel Franco no move towards third.
Well, after some pacing back and forth, Kapler is coming out to the mound. That's going to do it for Velasquez. 85 pitches in 6 1/3. He gives way to the Phillies bullpen. The Florida Lottery called the bullpen. Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Aaron Loop, acquired from the Blue Jays on deadline day. His first appearance for any other team than the Toronto Blue Jays organization. 369 games for the Jays, 7th most all time this season for the Blue Jays. 50 games, and of course again his first with the Phillies, and he will face Justin Bour with the tying run on at third in the 7th inning.
Yeah, loop, sinker, cutter, curve. That's what you're going to see from him. That fastball, I should say sinker, 92, 93 miles an hour. The cutter more at 84. He's not given up a home run to a left-handed hitter yet this season. 690 OPS for the lefties.
And he is coming in from second base with that delivery, isn't he?
He sure is. You really got to keep that front shoulder in. It's a big spot in the game for the Marlins, and certainly for this game.
And that one got Bour. Marlins have 2 on. And I believe that's going to be it. Gabe Kapler coming back out. So Loop's job was to get Bour. He got him all right. A hit by pitch. Marlins have runners on the corners. Another Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Baseball out to Progressive Field. Scoreless game, top of the first. Shohei Ohtani goes the other way for a solo. Check that, a 2-run home run. But Ohtani not done. Gets to Clevenger again. This time a solo home run. First multi-home run game of his career. I know he's had some arm issues, but man, oh man, what a rookie year it's been for Shohei Ohtani. Able to affect the game from both ends as they check over at first, and Sean Barber says that was a swing. Victor Arano, third Phillies pitcher of the inning in his 39th game this season. Brian Anderson, the runner, at third. Justin Bour over at first. And Prado looking for his first hit of this ball game, but a long fly ball would tie it up as well.
Well, Arano has been on fire, and there's a reason he's been brought into this ball game. 108 ERA in his last 15 outings, but more importantly has one of the nastier sliders out of the bullpen. He throws it about 56% of the time. You've seen it on the first 2 pitches. Has not surrendered a home run. His 4-seam fastball is his secondary pitch.
Again, this entire Phillies bullpen since July 1st, 98 in third innings pitched and a major league best 2.47 ERA. Marlins a chance to dent the scoreboard for the first time tonight. And Prado just got a piece of it, and then it just got a piece of Alfaro.
This is going to end up on the right inner thigh of Alfaro. The slider stays up. Watch Prado just get a piece. Check that, more like the right calf. I thought it got a little bit higher on the thigh. Tell you what, when I was a kid, I was so glad I was left-handed. I'm not kidding, man. I mean,
no chance to
you
catch.
see some of these foul balls that these guys take. I mean, they are truly warriors. I'm sure he's going to stay in the game and get right back behind home plate, and we probably won't ever talk about it again, and he may not even say anything about it tomorrow, and life will move on. But that's the life of a big league catcher right there.
Yeah, that's why they call all that equipment the tools of ignorance. Some do. The non-catchers do. Right calf. Well, while he gets a little attention, looks like he's going to stay in the ball game. A ball and 2 strikes to Martin Prado, facing Arano, who is currently trying to work out of this jam right now with 2 runners on base. He has inherited 15 runners this season, and only 2 have scored. Cut on and missed. That is a nasty pitch. 2 outs in the 7th.
Yeah, right back to the slider, and we'll see it coming. Arano's bread and butter. It's what he likes to do. Certainly what he needs to do in a situation where he needed to strike out. This may be the new key at bat for this ball game. Left-handed hitters much more success against Arano.
Outside to Dietrich, who struck out twice tonight. Adam Conley and Eliezer Hernandez watching from the bullpen as Dietrich pops this one up. Foul territory right on the line. It's Carlos Santana. Marlins had a chance in the 7th. They trail it 1-0. A low-scoring affair here in the city of brotherly love. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Jessica Blaylock, Citizens Bank Park. A 1-0 Phillies lead heading to the last of the 7th inning as Eliezer Hernandez takes over, third pitcher of the night for the Marlins after 5 innings from Trevor Richards. Teheran Guerrero worked the 6th, and now Hernandez will get 8-9-1 for the Phillies. 21st game this season for him. Been better as of late for the Marlins his last few times out. We'll see what he does. Trying to keep this a 1-run affair.
That's right. Hernandez has been outstanding over his last 5 appearances. Just 3 hits allowed. 7 strikeouts. Good stuff. He's been throwing strikes, getting ahead of hitters.
There's a strike to Kingery. Kingery a walk back in the 4th inning, flew out to Anderson in the 2nd. Pitcher spot due up next. It is Asdrubal Cabrera in the on-deck circle. Phillies also have Pat Neshek up in their pen. See that delivery from a mile away. One ball and 2 strikes to Kingery. Cut on and miss. Strike 3. Beat him at the top of the zone with a fastball, and there's 1 out in the 7th.
A fantastic job of pitching backwards by Hernandez. Saw the off-speed pitches early. That slider certainly setting up the fastball. Big first out here in the bottom of the 7th.
And it will be Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera just 3 for 22, 7 strikeouts, and no RBIs in his first 5 games with the Phillies. Came over from the New York Mets, was 0 for 3 last night. And he takes a strike.
Well, 1 for 6 as a pinch hitter this year. That one hit a home run.
This one, a fly ball out to shallow left center field. It is going to be Rojas, who collides with Dietrich.
Well, a little miscommunication. Everybody will be okay after this. Rojas calling it, Dietrich doing his part to get behind it. He thinks he's got it all the time. Sometimes it's not that you call it, it's that does your teammate, does the other person hear you calling it? Of course, priority goes to Dietrich in this one, so he's calling it the whole time thinking that Rojas is going to get out of the way, and as you see, Rojas did not.
Cesar Hernandez 0 for 3. Well, whatever the change has been for Eliezer Hernandez, it has certainly worked.
Well, outside of this at bat, command is what it's been, and certainly we've seen it over his last 5 appearances, and it's been a moment or two where he's walked a guy, but he kind of gets it right back. We've seen him depending on that slider a little bit more. He's coming into a ball game obviously out of the bullpen now, and you're seeing all 3 pitches factor into his arsenal. Early on you'd see 80-85% fastball, maybe 1 or 2 sliders.
Well, he walks Cesar Hernandez, and that'll bring up Rhys Hoskins.
Marlins fans, Fox Sports Florida and Southwest Airlines are giving you an opportunity to enter for a chance to win an all-inclusive stay in Nassau in the Bahamas on Labor Day weekend for the Southwest Airlines Summer Days Getaway. Just tweet hashtag Southwest Summer Days Sweeps and hashtag sponsored to @Fox Sports Florida for your chance to win. That's FL on the end of that last hashtag.
A ball and no strikes to Rhys Hoskins, who's responsible for the only run tonight, an RBI single in the third. '16 RBIs since the All-Star break for Hoskins. He has 72 on the season to lead this Philadelphia Phillies club. Hoskins, liner to left, and it's off the wall. Dietrich gets it in, and into second is Hoskins. Well, Hernandez is at third with 2 outs and the speed, fortunate to keep him there.
Now this breaking ball stays up just a bit. Hoskins goes out to get it. Kind of see those arms extend and kind of out and around. He loves to pull the baseball right off the Sherman-Williams sign once again. Dietrich played it well, got it in, almost had to play it second. This is starting to get messy. Now Mattingly's making his way to the mound. Another 2 hits for Hoskins.
A pitching change here in Philadelphia. Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Hernandez out, Conley in a 1-run game.
It's featured in our newest edition of Inside the Marlins. It's called Call to the Pen, and it highlights the journeys that Conley, Tayron Guerrero, Drew Steckenrider, and Kyle Barraclough have taken to get to the big leagues. It premiered over the weekend. If you didn't have a chance to catch it, don't worry. It will air again tonight, immediately following our Marlins Live post-game show. And Paul, as always, it's one that you don't want to miss.
Absolutely, yeah. Looking forward to it, Jessica. Thanks so much. And hopefully it's a happy post-game show. We can watch that program with a smile on our face. But it's up to Conley to keep the Phillies right where they are right now. Cesar Hernandez at third, Hoskins at second, Odubel Herrera at the plate as Conley is in for his 32nd game of the year. That one gets away from Real Muto, and Hernandez is going to come in and score. The third goes Hoskins, and the Phillies have a 2-0 lead.
Well, I think Conley just yanked this fastball. You see JT setting up on the outside corner, and you see how he buried it. Caught off the top of JT's glove. Hernandez scores easily. A little bit of insurance the Philadelphia Phillies were looking for here in the 7th. And this
roller to first. Bohr steps on the bag, and that'll do it for the Phillies in the 7th. But they score a big second run on a wild pitch and lead it 2-0. Rain, shine, doesn't matter for him. He has high energy all the time. Roman Quinn takes over in left field. Phillies do that an awful lot. Put him in as a defense replacement for Rhys Hoskins. And they bring Pat Neshek in, 12th game this season. Yet to be scored upon. Still a clean ERA. He'll face Rojas, Sierra. And then the pitcher's spot. And that a little low to Rojas, who struck out in the 3rd. Singleton was caught stealing in the 5th. Well, one thing the Phillies certainly have, and we just saw Loop, who hit Bohr, and Neshek, just 2 somewhat unorthodox deliveries. I guess what I'm trying to say is they give you a bunch of different looks out of their pen.
Right. It's kind of what they were searching for, and you get variety, you get different arm angles, you get guys that can do some different things. There's the slider from Neshek. Similarly to Arano. Throws that slider 68% of the time. So you've got 2 guys in your bullpen essentially. Now Arano throws harder, 94. Neshek doesn't throw nearly as hard, but he's got a sinker and he's got a different arm angle.
Line down the right field line into the seats, and it's still 1-2 to Rojas. Rojas with another hit tonight, going back to June 15th. He's 37 for his last 114, which is over 300, about right in the 320 range. Let Holly do the math on that. I stay away from it. I speak in generalities. Slow roller to Kingery at short for the first out here in the 8th. That'll bring up Sierra, who came very close to an infield single back in the 5th inning. Kind of a half swing that came off his bat and went to the left side of the infield. And what a play by Maikel Franco, diving to his left, up with it, sort of up with it, threw from the seat of his pants and got the speedy Sierra by a step.
Well, outside of the Bohr home run last night, Marlins have really struggled to get anything going offensively. Missed an opportunity in the 7th. This game still well within reach.
They just really haven't had a lot of base runners. Last night they were 1 for 1 with runners in scoring position. They left 2 men on base. Tonight they're 0 for 3 with 3 left on base. Two balls and a strike to Sierra. Right back up the middle off the bare hand of Neshek. And Sierra dives head first. Franco made the throw. And we'll see if Neshek is okay. Just kind of a reaction to stick his hand out. And Gabe Kapler not even going out to check on his pitcher, but rather to see if they might want to challenge this one again.
That's right. Well, he sticks the right hand out, certainly goes right off of it, bare hands it, and then another bare hand. Cal Franco races over, thinks he's got to play it first.
Going to let him throw a couple of warm-up tosses to make sure he's okay. I think it kind of caught the fat part of his hand, that palm of his hand, as opposed to clipping one of the fingers like we saw with Nick Whitgren earlier this year. JT Riddle to pinch hit. There's a strike on the corner to Riddle. 0 for 3 last night. Caught on and missed. 0-2.
If you're a left-handed hitter against Neshek, you really have to focus in that middle away, especially with the slider. He'll back it up on that outside corner at times. That's a natural arm side run. Once again. See a little bit of the run. Neshek drops down. 90 miles an hour. It's not overpowering. It's got a lot of late movement. Try not to get caught up in this as a hitter. This is what Neshek has been doing for quite some time. He keeps that ball down well.
You try not to get caught up with it, but it's hard not to notice at the same time.
Well, you're picking up his release point as best you can, and again, he's got great late movement.
Is there somebody that you just couldn't? You know what? Actually, you talked about Trevor Hoffman the other day.
Oh, yeah. Well, helped put him in the Hall of Fame.
Right field line giving chase is Santana. That'll reach the seats.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same idea. Hoffman, he hit the ball so well, and you tell yourself the changeup's coming, and then you tell yourself don't swing at it. The next thing you know, you're walking back to the dugout going, wow, I just swung at the changeup like 3 times. Yeah, there's guys that certainly will do it to you. You tell yourself, you come up with a game plan. Hitters do this all the time. And I think Mike Pagliarulo did a fantastic job explaining it tonight. We told you the numbers about the Marlins being good fastball hitters, but you've got to swing at your fastballs. If you're good low in the zone, you've got to get him in your zone. You don't want to be chasing up.
Castro with a base hit through the left side. Sierra thought about it. He'll get back to second, but the Marlins have 2 on and 2 out here in the 8th.
Nice job by Castro. Gets just enough. Sneak it through the left side. Marlins once again in business with their guy at the plate. Former Brian Anderson. One of the best at bats tonight. He's got a base hit. Has a knack for driving in runs.
He's got the tying runs aboard right now. Entered the day 3rd in Major League Baseball with a .398 batting average with runners in scoring position. As I mentioned before, Marlins today 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. That one fouled into the second deck. Anderson with a double in his last trip back in the 7th. He's also walked tonight. Not a whole lot to go off of. Just 0 for 1 in his career against Neshek.
Now, the one thing Anderson's got going is that in these situations, he loves to go middle away. You see the numbers, 398. 41 RBIs, very impressive. He shortens up. Doesn't try to get bigger, he gets smaller. He thinks middle of the field, other side, and against Neshek, that certainly helps. Neshek does not possess enough velocity or even that movement, arm side movement, to really get in on Anderson. If he maintains that midfield approach going the other way, I think he's got a real good chance to do some damage here.
Terrific speed at second with Sierra. And with 2 outs to be off on the crack of the bat. That one low, 3-1. JT Realmuto on deck. Called strike 2. Well, the runners will get the benefit of the head start here with 3-2.
Phillies outfielders playing deep.
Runners go. Line to center field, and it will get down for a base hit. In to score is Sierra. To third goes Castro, and once again Brian Anderson comes through with runners in scoring position. Marlins close the gap to 2-1.
Yeah, you like to see them playing that. I was sitting here watching the Philadelphia Phillies outfielders. They were playing so deep on Anderson. Of course, we're thinking shoot the gap, but this swing here gets it done. I think in a normal situation he probably catches this. Look where he's fielding that ball. He was so deep that gets down. Sierra in easily. Castro over to third base and Gabe Kapler to the mound. It's a 1-run ball game, Paul.
It is, and the tying run is 90 feet away. That'll do it for Pat Neshek. Florida Lottery called the bullpen here in Philly. Marlins down a run. On the air with Marlins Live pregame show at 7. Marlins and Phillies go at it. Third of this 4-game set. Zach Eflin goes for the Phils. Jose Urania for the Marlins. First pitch a little after 7:30 tomorrow night. Phillies have of course, they've had their anniversary weekend all weekend long, but tomorrow they will have a special pregame ceremony for Roy Halladay and Pat Gillick. Hence the game a little later tomorrow night. But Urania and Eflin, your two starters. Here it is Sir Anthony Dominguez, the closer for the Philadelphia Phillies. He's 11 for 12 in save opportunities. 5 times this year he has registered a save, getting 4 outs or more. He'll need to get 4 outs tonight. Real Muto back and out of play. 0-1. JT looking for a hit to extend his 8-game hit streak to 9, but it won't be easy against Dominguez. He's not given up a run in 12 of 13 appearances. 0-2. JT's fared well in these situations, but he has never faced Dominguez. Marlins get 1 in the 8th, but they leave the tying run at third. 2-1 through 7.5.
Marlins baseball, customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Marlins home screen icons and features such as MLB.TV Game of the Day, live radio broadcasts, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today.
Some defensive changes for the Marlins. Miguel Rojas moves from short to second, and JT Riddle stays in the game. He is in at short with Javi Guerra in out of the bullpen to pitch. Richards, Guerrero, Hernandez, Conley, and now Guerra for the Marlins tonight. 10th game for Javi. He will face Santana, Franco, and Williams in a 1-run game. Phillies have played in a lot of 1-run games this year. In fact, they were a National League best 20-10 in 1-run games this year. Strike to Santana. You know, I was thinking about it today. Last night's game, it ended 5-2, so it's not technically a 1-run game. But you think 1-run games, you think teams that are able to kind of focus when the games are tight. And in that 7th inning, last night, the 6th inning rather, the Phillies scored a run. So from the 7th, 8th, and then the bottom of the 9th, it was a 1-run game.
Yep. I tried to, you explained that early on in the season, like, we talk creating an identity for yourself. Like, fly ball to left. Out number 1, you know exactly what a team will become. We've talked about this with the Marlins. We've said resiliency and close, well-pitched ball games. They have a chance to win. They're typically not going to outslug you, if you know what I mean. Well, the Philadelphia Phillies in a lot of ways have kind of developed very similar attributes to the chemistry of their team. Great starting pitching, a really strong bullpen, and their offense at times can be a little inconsistent. Mentioned it last night. They're only hitting .237 at home. I mean, this is a home run hitter's park. But what do they do here? They do hit home runs and they do draw walks. But sometimes you'll see them explode and put up some numbers, but consistently really hasn't been there.
Well, this guy hit a home run last night. Maikel Franco here grounds one to short. Riddle can't come up with it. That doesn't happen often with Riddle, but that'll be an E6.
Oh, the second time this year for Riddle, who's made an error. Came up and got him on the heel. Did everything right. There was a bad hop in there, and it wasn't hit hard, but that last one right there jumped up and moved those hands up, didn't come up with it.
So 1 on 1 out for Nick Williams. Takes inside. Williams with a base hit his last time up. Up the middle, and this one off the glove of Riddle. Franco on his way to third. And the Phillies in business here in the 8th.
Well, back-to-back base hits for Williams. Picked up a hit in the 6th, now a hit in the 8th. I tell you, see it skip off JT's glove there and redirect into right. Well, I should say right center field. Put Sierra on a completely different path, and that allowed Franco to get all the way over to third base. He wasn't really thinking about it too much until that ball redirected.
Here is Jorge Alfaro. He's reached twice tonight, a walk in the 2nd, a base hit in the 4th, and struck out by Guerrero in the 6th. I've heard two schools of thought on the 1-run game records. The way I look at it, you're kind of reading between the lines, teams that can find ways to win games. Other people say, well, it makes for a hollow win-loss record overall because the 1-run games can go either way.
Well, of course they are, but it speaks to the confidence, and confidence in the game of baseball is in familiarity. The idea that you're in these types of games over and over and over again. I mean, it's really what they do. I mean, I've seen a lot of teams do this, and I don't want to say that it's specifically what's driving them each day. Hey, let's play a close ball game. But the point is that when they're in them, they're not feeling that pressure the way some other teams might feel it.
This one out to deep center field. Sierra on the track. Can't come up with it. Franco will come in to score. Williams had to wait. He moves up to second base, and the Phillies are up 3-1.
Yeah, that may be the longest single you see all season long. Well, Sierra didn't quite get to the wall, and that's going to cost him. That ball, I'm not even sure it caught the base. He thought he was there. To his defense, that is not an easy part of this ballpark to navigate. The wall is not traditional. It kind of jets out and it jets back to the 409 mark, so you're kind of going at the wall at an angle. Sierra really never got himself into position to make the catch.
Are those the toughest walls and angles to navigate?
You got to prep for them. I mean, it's it. You got to come out. You got to get the get the feel for it, how that track's going to play, because it's just different. You see the angle. You see the 409 right there in the middle of your screen. Now to the left, where that giant sign is, it goes back to 387. So it's not traditional. Normally, you'd see a wall that has some slight curve to it and makes its way out to center field. But, at the front end of a series, that's what you've got to do. You got to come out and then go through your kind of routines of making sure you know exactly where your footwork needs to be. It's like right even at that edge of where the giant sign is, the track is actually longer. Outfielders are trained 2-3 steps, you're at the wall. 2-3 steps, you're at the wall. In that part, it's probably more like 5 steps. And you can see it right there. It comes back out a very long way.
A long single for Alfaro, and now a 3-1 lead for the Phillies. A strike to Kingery. Struck out back in the 7th. Right field for Anderson. And he will keep Williams right where he's at second base, 2 away. Time for the Toyota inside look. Yeah, weekend warriors, right? Division leaders. They play pretty well on the weekends. Philadelphia Phillies and maybe the Indians, the exceptions of the rules. The rule here, 25 and 26. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't think the Red Sox care what day of the week it is. I think it's just like, oh, the day ends in Y? Okay, we'll win today.
That's right.
Like they did today. 4-1 over the Yankees to take the first 2 games of that series.
You and I, we both love numbers. We talk them all the time. I like to look at batting averages against fastballs, non-fastballs, all these things. You know what? Like all the offensive categories, literally the Boston Red Sox are at the top of every chart.
Everything.
Well, we talked about it coming in. The Philadelphia Phillies not very good against the changeup today, right? And a lot of teams have kind of a place where they're stronger and then another place where they might be a little bit weaker. The Boston Red Sox don't have that place. They were actually top 2 against non-fastballs and fastballs.
That one gets away from Real Muto. Williams up to 3rd and Alfaro to 2nd. It'll be a passed ball on JT.
Yeah, that across the plate. JT not able to come up with it. The runners move up.
Three balls and no strikes to Roman Quinn, who came in as a double switch earlier. He takes a called strike. Talking about the Red Sox, the Phillies were just in Boston the other night. A couple of games, Monday and Tuesday. Quinn had a career high 3 hits at Fenway Park, and he adds another hit here, and this is going to open up the scoring a little more. He'll drive in 2 on the double.
Well, things are definitely coming unglued here. The 8th, Marlins were doing their best to give themselves a shot in the 9th. Just rocket off the bat of Quinn. He's going to get a double. Nice throw by Brian Anderson. JT unable to come up with a throw. If he does, Quinn's out at 2nd.
Marlins will intentionally walk Cesar Hernandez to set up a force at any base. Also makes the Phillies make some sort of a move here. And they won't make any move. It'll be Sir Anthony Dominguez. So he'll hit for himself. However, the Phillies still have a 4-run lead. He'll hit for himself in theory. I don't know if he'll actually swing the bat or not, but he's up there. Adam Morgan, lefty, up in the pen. The inning started with a fly ball to left field. An error, back-to-back singles, including an RBI for Alfaro. Kingery flew out, but then the 2-run double for Roman Quinn before the intentional walk.
Now Dominguez has picked up an at-bat this year already. He walked.
Very patient. Well, I mentioned it before, 5 times this year he's registered a save, 4 outs or more. So depending on how the lineup works, oh, look out, maybe he will swing after all.
Well, as they say, the bat went farther than the ball.
Yeah.
Look out. He didn't know he was getting this at bat. Didn't have a chance to get his batting gloves.
Or pine tar. Two and two. Couple of healthy hacks for Dominguez. But it was the other Phillies that had the healthy hacks. 3-run score, 5-1 on their way to the 9th. Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln. Join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. A 3 spot in the bottom of the 8th for the Phillies. It's now a 5-1 deficit for the Marlins. Here as we go to the 9th inning. Justin Bour, Martin Prado, and Derek Dietrich due up against Sir Anthony Dominguez. Time for the Coors Light refreshing finish. And it all started with Vince Velasquez, who set the tone, came in throwing heat, and he went to the breaking stuff and really had it working all night.
Yeah, he certainly did. This entire staff really has been kind of on a roll of late. You mentioned it, the elevated fastball, big part of his arsenal. That second and third time through really broke out the breaking ball, and the Marlins had a hard time counteracting that approach.
Oh, 0-2 to Bour. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Somebody stole Minervini's glasses. Of course, we're seeing a lot of Hawaiian themed stuff The Flying Hawaiian Shane Victorino honored before the game. Came out and gave a little speech. Was emotional, of course, part of a Holly, as you can certainly speak to, a very passionate fan base here in Philadelphia.
No doubt.
And part of a team that ended a drought of what was it, 28 years,
well,
right? 1980 and 08.
Growing up here, Phillies fans appreciate a winner. I know that people hear that this is a hard town. It is, but when you come here and you help this team, this organization win, whether it's this sport, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, and you get it done, you will be saluted and remembered for the rest of your life. Shane Victorino did all of those things. We were talking about this the other day. Flying Hawaiian, I mean, is there a better nickname in baseball?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, very emotional night for Shane Victorino tonight. 25,000
people on their feet the entire time he was on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't stop clapping. I mean, they barely stopped clapping to listen to him.
You're right. You're right. And tomorrow figures to be an emotional night as well, as Justin Bohr with a roller to the right side for out number one. They'll honor Roy Halladay and Pat Gillick.
Well, you've already seen it from Dominguez. He throws hard, 98, 99 miles an hour, hard slider to go along with it. He's out in the 90 mile an hour range.
Let's check in with Jessica.
Hey guys, just a quick update on Sandy Alcantara, who had a rehab start tonight in Jupiter for the Hammerheads. Here is how he finished against the Palm Beach Cardinals. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 0 runs, 4 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Guys.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get him back at some point. Was good when we saw him, but then immediately right to the disabled list, unfortunately. Had that infection in his armpit, working his way back. Marlins trying to work their way back tonight. They'll have to do it 1 out in the 9th inning. A ball and a strike to Martin Prado. Takes low. A couple of strikeouts tonight for Martin. Out to left center field, a long run for Quinn. He'll have room and he'll make the play. Boy, that's that same part of the field that Sierra had a tough time corralling one, and Quinn kind of got to the wall and ran alongside it to make the catch.
Well, that's right. See how you have to navigate it. Quinn does a nice job of getting himself into position to reroute. That's exactly what you want to see there. Herrera, no shot at catching it. And because he got there so quickly, he was able to redirect himself and make this catch. His original line was not the right line.
Tip of the cap from Dominguez. Here's Dietrich. The Phillies a National League best 35-18 at home. They are on the doorstep of adding to the win column, up 5-1 with 2 outs in the 9th. Strike upstairs to Dietrich, 2-1. $33,737 on their feet here at Citizens Bank Park. As Dietrich sends one to right field. And this game continues. One hops the wall. Here comes a throw from right, and it's a 2-out double for Dietrich to quiet the crowd.
Well, Dietrich was just waiting for something to get his arms around middle in, and he finally got it. He had to wait till the 5th pitch of the at-bat. He wasn't happy about the 2-1, but he turned this 97-mile-an-hour fastball around quick. Nice swing. Well, you can hear the crowd getting into the last pitch, what they're anticipating to be the last out of the ball game, and they're going to go silent almost instantaneously. Great job by the guys on the audio.
Now it's up to Rojas to keep a 2-out rally going. 1 for 3 tonight.
Rojas hitting .329 with runners in scoring position.
One to Rojas is fouled away off of Alfaro again. Hope he's all right. He just looks defeated at this point.
Well, he'll be spitting out bullets here in a second. I'm sure he's probably going to stay in the game. Catches him up on the right shoulder. My goodness, even with the padding. Now watch the redirect. This is a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and you think that chest protector is going to keep that sting out? Well, to a degree it does, but my goodness. Well, I don't think it's going to be ice bags tonight. It's probably going to be an ice tub.
Yeah, tub. No doubt. JT knows all about that. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here it is from Dominguez. On the ground left side. Backhanded by Kingery. And a stretch by Santana. The Philadelphia Phillies have won the first 2 games of this 4-game set. They take this one tonight 5-1. In what was a pitcher's duel until the Phillies scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. First place Phils stay there after the victory tonight against the Marlins. Marlins Live postgame show coming up after the break.